The metabolic scaling paradox is one of the most intriguing puzzles in biology, revealing how metabolism, the rate at which organisms consume energy, scales non-linearly with body size. At first glance, one might assume that if an elephant is 1,000 times heavier than a rabbit, it should also burn 1,000 times more energy. But instead, its metabolic rate is only about 316 times higher, following Kleiber's law, which states that metabolism scales to the 3/4 power of body mass. This means that larger animals are more energy efficient per unit of body weight than smaller ones. But why? The answer seems to lie in how nutrients, oxygen, and waste products are transported through biological networks such as blood vessels in animals or xylem in plants. Think of it like city infrastructure. Larger cities rely on highways rather than narrow roads, which makes transportation more efficient. This scaling phenomenon is found across diverse life forms, from mammals and birds to fish, plants, and even bacterial colonies, suggesting that it follows fundamental physical and mathematical constraints. For example, blue whales, despite their enormous size, have remarkably low heart rates, around 2 to 10 beats per minute, compared to hummingbirds, whose hearts can race at over 1,200 beats per minute. Another example is lifespan. Larger animals tend to live longer. An elephant can live over 70 years, while a mouse may only survive for 2 to 3 years, despite their vastly different metabolic rates. Even in plants, the same principles apply. Trees distribute water and nutrients in ways that optimize energy use across vast networks. But what if we could harness this understanding for medicine, aging, or even artificial life systems? Could metabolic scaling help explain why larger species are less prone to certain diseases, or why calorie restriction extends lifespan? Does this hidden rule of life apply to other complex systems, such as economies, social networks, or artificial intelligence? The paradox forces us to rethink how energy flows through all forms of life, suggesting that biology might follow deep, universal laws that extend far beyond living organisms. Metabolic rate, the energy expenditure of an organism, does not scale linearly with body mass, but instead follows a power law, commonly approximated as B equals m to the power of 3/4, known as Kleiber's rule. This means that larger animals use energy more efficiently per unit mass than smaller animals, despite having greater absolute energy demands. The 3/4 scaling exponent is unexpected, as simple surface-to-volume ratios predict a scaling of 2/3, suggesting deeper biological constraints in energy distribution. A mouse has a much higher metabolic rate per gram of body weight than an elephant, yet the elephant consumes more total energy. It's like comparing a sports car to a freight train. The car burns fuel rapidly for speed, while the train moves efficiently with a slower. The fractal geometry of biological transport networks, such as blood vessels and respiratory pathways, has been proposed as an explanation for the nonlinear scaling of metabolism. These networks optimize energy distribution by minimizing resistance and maximizing surface area, leading to an efficient supply of oxygen and nutrients across different body sizes. The 3/4 exponent emerges as a mathematical consequence of space-filling fractal branching structures that remain efficient as organisms grow. The circulatory systems of mammals follow fractal-like branching patterns, ensuring that even large animals can distribute nutrients with minimal energy loss. It's like an optimized road network. Highways efficiently connect cities, minimizing traffic congestion despite increasing distances. Smaller animals have a higher surface area-to-volume ratio, meaning they lose heat faster and must maintain higher metabolic rates to compensate. Conversely, larger animals retain heat more efficiently, allowing for lower metabolic rates per unit mass. This relationship explains why small mammals, like shrews, need to eat constantly to sustain their energy needs, while larger mammals can survive on less frequent meals. Hummingbirds have extraordinarily high metabolic rates due to rapid heat loss, requiring them to consume nectar almost continuously. It's like a small, thin-walled thermos, losing heat quickly compared to a large, well-insulated container that retains warmth longer. Evolution has shaped metabolic scaling to balance energy efficiency with survival needs. Small animals prioritize rapid energy turnover for agility and short lifespans, while large animals invest in slower metabolism, longer lifespans, and lower predation risks. These adaptations are driven by ecological pressures that favor different metabolic strategies based on body size and environmental constraints. Elephants have slow metabolisms and long lifespans, whereas mice have high metabolisms but short lifespans due to higher predation risks. It's like choosing between a high-speed racing bike, fast but fragile, and a heavy-duty truck, slow but durable, depending on environmental demands. At the cellular level, metabolic scaling is influenced by mitochondrial density and function. Smaller organisms often have more mitochondria per cell and higher enzymatic activity to meet energy demands, whereas larger organisms rely on fewer but more efficient mitochondria. This variation in energy production efficiency helps explain differences in metabolic scaling across species. Birds and bats have evolved highly efficient mitochondria to sustain flight, allowing them to operate at high metabolic rates despite their body size. It's like comparing different battery types. Some are optimized for rapid power output, while others last longer with steady discharge. The metabolic scaling paradox extends beyond individuals to entire ecosystems where energy distribution follows similar nonlinear principles. Large herbivores process food more efficiently than small ones, and predator-prey dynamics reflect energy transfer constraints dictated by metabolic scaling. This explains why large predators, such as lions, require vast territories to sustain their energy needs. Blue whales, despite their massive size, consume energy-rich krill in enormous quantities to meet their metabolic demands efficiently. It's like a power grid. Larger users require more energy but often operate with greater efficiency in distributing resources. While the 3/4 power law holds for most species, exceptions exist, particularly in animals with unique ecological and physiological adaptations. Some cold-blooded animals, like reptiles, show different scaling exponents due to reliance on external heat sources rather than metabolic energy for temperature regulation. Similarly, certain aquatic species benefiting from buoyancy exhibit metabolic rates that deviate from terrestrial patterns. Large fish, such as sharks, display metabolic scaling closer to linearity because water supports their mass, reducing energy expenditure. It's like comparing an electric car to a gasoline-powered one. The energy consumption patterns differ based on how power is sourced and used. The metabolic scaling paradox is closely linked to lifespan, as lower metabolic rates per unit mass are associated with increased longevity. Organisms with slow metabolisms experience less oxidative stress and cellular damage, leading to extended lifespans. This correlation is evident across species, where larger animals, such as tortoises and whales, often outlive smaller, high-metabolism counterparts. Bowhead whales, which have low metabolic rates, are among the longest-living mammals with lifespans exceeding 200 years. It's like a light bulb. Low-wattage bulbs last longer than high-intensity ones that burn out quickly. Understanding metabolic scaling has applications in synthetic biology, personalized medicine, and biotechnology. Researchers are exploring ways to manipulate metabolic rates to extend lifespan, optimize energy efficiency, and enhance medical treatments for metabolic disorders. The study of metabolic scaling also provides insights into designing artificial tissues and organs that mimic natural energy distribution. Caloric restriction studies in mammals suggest that controlled metabolic reduction may slow aging and improve health outcomes. It's like fine-tuning an engine. Adjusting fuel efficiency can optimize performance and longevity under different conditions.